Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you're here. Today is an exciting day. It is seed starting day. Today we're going to be starting over 300 seeds. It is week 7 weeks before the last frost day. And so if you landed on this video for the very first time, welcome to my channel and welcome to the Seed Starting Challenge. If you are new, please go ahead and say hello to me in the comments. Let me know where you're coming in from, what city, what state and country, and so I can say hello back to you. So for those that have been here, you know that every single week for the last 4 weeks, we have been doing a seed starting challenge where we're starting seeds every single week up until our last frost day, until we can plant the stuff out in the garden. So I am in Tennessee in zone 7B. And so my estimated last frost date is on April 21st. And so we are right now 7 weeks before the last frost date. And like I said, every week we're planting seeds out. Now, if you are new, I want you to participate in the challenge. To participate in the challenge, all you got to do is say, hey, yes, challenge accepted. I'm going to start seeds every single week. And so you can look at the playlist. I'll pop it up here when you want to go back and watch the previous 4 weeks where we started seeds together. We started at week 11 and we have worked our way up. Today is a very big day because, like I said, we're planting or starting over 300 seeds. So weeks 7 and 8 are usually big weeks, and then week 3 is usually a big week. And so just to kind of bring you up to speed, one of the things that we do every single week is that we show you the progress from the previous weeks up until now. But also I want to mention that if you were here last week, you know that last week was week 8 and I was actually in Florida. So I was not able to start my seeds with you, but I did talk through what seeds I was going to start and what seeds you can start at 8 weeks. So one of the things is that even if you're not in Tennessee, if you're not in my zone, you can still participate in the challenge. So your zone or your estimated last frost date may be before me, or it may be after me. All you need to know is that when 7 weeks hit, the things I'm going to talk about today that I'm starting, you can start at your 7-week mark. Or maybe you're at week 8 and you want to start it at then, or maybe you're at week 6. Remember, we talked about that seed starting has a range. So for example, the things that we're going to start today are usually fall in the range of 6 to 8 weeks. We're at week 7, so I can plant them or start them at week 6, week 7, or week 8. So there is a range. So you're not too late. You're not behind. Jump in and get in where you fit in. But before we start seeds today, there's some other things that we need to do to kind of just get prepared for seed starting today. So one of the things that I did before this video even started last night, I spent about an hour in my sunroom getting prepared for today. Now on the big weeks, I have to do that just so that I have a plan. Again, to start 300 seeds, it's not just, hey, let me go out here and just, kind of willy-nilly. I got to have a plan of what I'm starting and how many, just because I need to be organized, I need to be efficient, and I need to have already thought about how many of each variety. Now, on smaller weeks, I don't necessarily put that time and energy in ahead of time because it's a much smaller variety or a much smaller amount to start. But because we're starting so many, last night I took the time and I went through the varieties and I kind of wrote down how many of each one to kind of plan. I think today at the end of the day we are going to walk away with 5 trays of seed starts, if I did my math correctly, somewhere along either 4 or 5 trays of seed starting. So before we jump into the seed starting, one thing we're going to do is that we're going to actually go to the tunnel and we're actually going to plant out some seed starts that we started about 4 weeks ago. I'm going to show you the footage of the seed starts and how they're doing. So the tray that we're going to do, I'm going to insert that footage right here, and then we're going to go out and plant out our lettuce because it is ready to get out of the seed starting tray and into the ground. Okay, friends, this is the week 10 tray. So we planted this tray 10 weeks before the last frost date. Look at this beautiful lettuce on the left-hand side. Oh my goodness. It is beautiful. But you can also see we planted some sage, and actually I just planted that this past week. I just moved that little tray over there. But we have some rosemary popping up, some petunias popping up. Look at my yarrow. We planted that at 10 weeks and all of that is 100% germinated. And then the lemon balm looks like we have about 6 out of 12. But back to this lettuce, it is ready to go out in the ground. So that's what we're about to do next. It is absolutely beautiful. So I typically start most of my seeds in these 6L trays from Epic Gardening, and I do have a code in my description if you want to take advantage of anything at the Epic Gardening site, including these trays. But I like them because one is you can do 6Ls at one time, but they have the slits on the side so that it air prunes the seedling. So when you take the seedling out, look how good it looks. Okay, so now it's time to plant it in the ground. So I decided to plant it this day for a few reasons. One, it definitely was time. They were pretty much growing out of the 6L tray. Lettuce germinates and grows pretty fast. So lettuce overall days to maturity is about 45 days. In terms of germination, these lettuce seeds germinated in about 48 hours, and they have been in these pots for about 3 weeks, so it's definitely time. The second thing is, because today is a huge seed starting day, I need all the trays that I can get, and so by planting these, it gave me access to 3 more seed starting trays that I can use today. At this point in the season is where my 6L trays start to get a little low between this week and the following week, because we've started so many seeds by this point. We've probably started at this point in the season over 500 seeds. And so I only have so many of those trays, but also at the same time, I'll be able to either up pot or put in the ground seeds that we've started at weeks 11 and 10, and that'll give me some more seeds. So again, this is all strategic. I'm always at this point of the seed starting journey, I am just trying to maximize space as much as possible. So giving up and putting these in the ground gave me 3 trays, plus it was absolutely ready for it to be in the ground. Now these varieties that I'm planting today, these are actually from Vego Garden. They sent me some seeds of theirs to try, and I'm very pleased. So there's 3 different kinds of lettuces. I did a butter crunch, a salad bowl blend, and then also there's one called Little Jim, which is like a little mini romaine. So all in all, I think there's 15 plants we're going to actually put out today of lettuce. That will be plenty of lettuce for us. It will be the last hurrah before we do lettuce again in the fall. So this lettuce right here will usually, I would say, last in my high tunnel until about mid-June. Now, in my zone, there is a gentleman that I met that actually grows lettuce year-round. His name is Ray Tyler. He actually has a book and a whole masterclass about growing lettuce year-round. And I have the book, and I have access to his information. I just haven't had the time to really focus on it and to actually do the method of how to get it to grow year-round. Okay, y'all, so if I did mention the weather, if you can't see behind me, the weather is absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. I think it's like 65. The high is going to be like 75. We have great weather for the next 10 days in the forecast, which is wonderful. Like spring, officially it's not spring yet on the calendar, but spring is coming. And I think the time changes this week, so we're going to get an extra hour of daylight. All of that signals that, y'all, it's time to grow food. It is time to grow food. That is what it signals. The temperatures, the extra hour of daylight. It's like, come on, sis, get busy, get busy. So before we talk about what we're going to start today, let me also show you the progress from the other weeks that we started seeds together, so you can see the progress and how things are looking. And then also, even though they have not germinated, I'll show you and talk through what I started when I came back home for my week 8, because I did not show that on camera. So let's insert that footage right here. Okay, so let me show you my week 8 tray. So remember, I was in Florida, so I did not start seeds with you, but when I got back home, I went ahead and started my seeds. So I did peppers, so I did Ashvarsky, I did a new pepper called Ahi Kachuka, and I did tons of jalapenos. You guys know that we sell jalapeno salt in the summer, so we are getting ready for that. So at the time of this video, these seedlings are about 4 days. Today is day 4. They're 4 days old, so they have not germinated yet. The thing about peppers, they can take literally about 14 days. And so you definitely have to be patient when it comes to peppers. And then you should also put them on a heat mat with a humidity dome to get the quickest results. So here are more peppers, a different tray that I started. These are the Sprinter, which is a red greenhouse bell pepper. That's the Nova, which is an orange bell pepper. And then I also have some calendula that I started last week as well. Now look at these marigolds that I started. I started these at the same time 4 days ago, and they've already popped up. So marigolds are easy to grow. So I think this is week 10 tray. So I started some coleus. You can see that it's popping up there, the first and the middle. So that's quite a bit there. I would say probably 50% germination. Here is one little snapdragon out of the 9. My petunias are not germinating as well as they did last year. Now, these is a different variety. And so you see, I just have very spotty germination on the petunias. Here's my celery. Again, about 50% germination. And then this last row is all cilantro, which germinated beautifully. All the way down, I have pretty much perfect germination, and it can actually go out. This other tray is the first tray we started at week 11. Lavender, dill, a little bit of oregano there. In the middle here is thyme at the top. Regular thyme that's looking really, really good. Remember, we restarted that, and then this is orange thyme right here in the middle. And then coming up on the bottom is eucalyptus. And then going back up to the top, we have more eucalyptus that you can see has filled in on the top tray and the middle tray, and then more lavender all the way down. So the lavender can be up potted as well. And then I have some dill in the corner that can go out. So now it's time to get ready and get prepared to start our 300 seeds. So I get all of my trays set up first. And so I went down to the tunnel, got some more 6-cell trays or seed starting trays. And then I also got some trays to put them in. So I'm going to just start laying them out and making sure that I have enough before I get started. So I calculated I should need 4 to 5 trays today if I do 72 in each tray. And if I don't have enough of these 6-cell trays, then I will use one of my 72 cell trays. That's a tray that already has the 72 holes in it. That's not my preferred method. I don't particularly care for that tray just because it's hard for my labels to stay in and the labels fall through a lot of times. So that's why I don't prefer using it, but it will work if I need to and if I'm out of these 6-cell trays. So these 6-cell seed trays I get from Epic Gardening. I do have a code, I think I mentioned that before, in my description where you can get, I think, 5% off if you use my code. These trays are so wonderful. They are dishwasher safe on the top rack. They are nearly like indestructible. Like you cannot bend them. They're sturdy. They're going to last forever. I think you can buy them in packs of 6 if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, they have all of the pretty colors. So the first tray I did was like the rust and the black, and then they came out with these pretty colors, which is like the turquoise, the pink, and the lavender. I love pretty colors, so that's what you see me doing here. And then that tray on the right top, the very, very first one that I did that has like the greens, that tray right there, those trays are from Whispering Willow Farm, or let me say that, it's from Bootstrap Farmer, but it's the Whispering Willow collection. I got it because I love the colors, because again, I love things pretty, but they're not nearly as sturdy as the Epic Gardening
so
trays.
I had to go from the long sleeve GREENSTALK shirt to the short sleeve GREENSTALK shirt when the sun's coming out, because it's getting a little warm, not hot, but just warm. It feels absolutely amazing. So you can see the progress of how the seeds are progressing. Overall, I'm pleased. I don't have any complaints. There is some spotty germination with a couple of things, but that's to be expected. And then plus I was out of town for 2 weeks, had somebody else tending to my seeds. And so, you know, all of that can be a factor as well, just because, you know, I wasn't here for, you know, 2 weeks out of that time. But overall, things are looking really, really good. So now we're going to get our trays ready. I'm going to go ahead and set up 5 trays for us to get started with our seeds. And then I'm going to let you know overall what seeds you should be thinking about starting at week 7. And then I'll specifically talk about the seeds and the varieties that I'm going to be starting. Let's go do our 300 seeds. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
So next I sit down to make all of my labels. So what I did ahead of time is I wrote down the varieties that I was starting. I'm going to go over that with you, but I took it a step further and I wrote down the number of each variety I was going to do. That way I knew how many tags I needed and I knew how many trays I needed. Again, I don't do this every single week. And really this is the first time that I've actually done it this way and it worked out perfectly. But if again, me doing this would only be like
for big weeks when I'm doing, you know, hundreds and hundreds of seeds. If I'm doing like a one tray of 72, then there's no need to do all that. But because I'm doing 300, it was important for me to kind of have a plan going into it. And again, this is a big day. So for those of you that are working, this may be something that you do on the weekend, because you probably may not, you know, fill up to it or have the time when you're getting off work, especially if you work outside of the home. So I get all my labels ready for the first couple of trays. Also on that paper, I totaled up how many seeds I was doing. That's how I knew I needed 300. And that's also how I knew I needed 4 trays, minimum of 72. Hey y'all, it's about that time again. What time am I talking about? Insect repellent spray. Y'all, I just saw some bees out here and stuff flying around, but I got my insect. I have this out here on my table. I have it in my tunnel. If you don't know, we actually sell this. We make it. It is homemade natural insect repellent spray. And so if you don't have any left over from last year, if you did not order any last year, go ahead and get your order in now, especially for some of you that are in like even more south than me. You may already have bugs and stuff in your area in March, but definitely put this on the list for this summer. You can get this in our shop at livingfoodsfarm.com. I think it's $10 in the shop, but it's made with all natural ingredients. It smells great, and it does a great job to keep the insects away and the ticks away. So definitely get you some of that if you don't have any. Okay, so let's talk about, what do you start at 7 weeks before your last frost date? So let me get my paper. This is a big seed starting day, so I had to make sure I had everything, you know, everything had to be everything, okay? So in terms of stuff at 7 weeks, peppers. And so we talked about peppers last week at week 8. So also you can start peppers at week 7. So peppers are to be started weeks 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So if you did not start them last week, and that was your 8-week mark, then you still have time to do it this week. Or if you're on your 6th week, you still have time. Now for me, because I do so many peppers, tomatoes and peppers are probably the largest amount of things that I grow, because of course I can use them in many different ways, and we grow enough of those crops to last us for a year. So in my freezer right now, I still have gallon-sized bags of peppers, right? I don't have to buy peppers from the store unless I need a fresh pepper for like a potato salad or something where you need the crunch of a pepper. But other than that, I don't have to buy peppers at all from the store. So I may buy, I don't know, 3 or 4 a winter, maybe. And again, that's only if I need it. Other than that, if it's going to be in a soup, sauteed, fajitas or whatever, I have peppers in my freezer that I grew with my hands from my own garden. So that is a plus. And so when it comes to peppers, I do peppers at weeks 8 and week 7. And then on week 6, I evaluate to see how did things germinate at week 8 and week 7. If I need to start some more peppers because maybe I had a fail or something like that, then I can start them again on week 6. But definitely on weeks 8 and 7. So today we will be starting more peppers. And I'll explain to you the varieties and how I separate what I start on week 8 and what I start on week 7. Also tomatoes. So tomatoes, you usually start around 6 weeks before your last frost date. It is 7 weeks, and I do mine at 7 and at 6. One, because I'm doing a lot of tomatoes, right? I'm growing over, I don't know how many varieties, but I'm growing over 100 tomato plants. Again, enough of that crop to last me for the year. That is a common theme. If you're new to this channel, you'll hear me talk about that often, right? It's called, you know, it's a concept of seasonal eating. You want to eat things when they are in season. And so you grow it and you eat it when it's in season, and you preserve it when it's at its peak. And that way you have that fresh taste and that availability all throughout the year until you can grow that crop again. So I do my tomatoes at weeks 7 and week 6. I split them up just like I do my peppers. I start the greenhouse varieties first typically, and then what's going to go in the garden, I start the later week. And then also it gives me a chance to break up so that I'm not starting all my tomatoes on the same week, and it helps me to stagger it out. So peppers and tomatoes are definitely at the 7-week mark. Another thing is eggplant. If you are an eggplant lover, if you grow eggplant, this is the time to start your eggplant. So we're going to be starting some of that today as well. When it comes to flowers, marigolds, again, we started that and talked about it at week 8. And I started some at week 8. I'm going to be starting more marigolds today. Marigolds, I did not realize how easy it was to grow marigolds. And this is my third year growing marigolds. And what got me to growing marigolds or thinking about it was because marigolds are a great pest deterrent, and they're a great companion plant for your summer garden. I put them around all my tomatoes, all my squash. It's in every single bed that I have are marigolds. And so I was getting them from Home Depot, those little yellow tired old marigolds. They come in that one solid color, yellow, bright yellow, and I didn't even like them, but I just put them in my garden because I knew that I needed them. But that little 6-pack may have cost me $3 or something like that. And so 3 years ago, I decided, let me see if I can grow marigolds. And boy, did I grow marigolds. They were easy to germinate, easy to grow. And so I've been doing that. And they are a great seller. They're one of the #1 sellers when it comes to our plant sale. We sell our marigolds in 6-packs, and they always, always sell out. Last year, I think I had 150 marigolds. I think I kept maybe 40 or 50 from my garden, and I sold the rest, and they always sell out, and they do amazing. Amazing. So we're going to do more marigolds today. And then another flower we're going to start today, and that you can start as well, is cosmos. If you are a cosmos lover, you want to start those about 6 or 7 weeks before your last frost date. And then also Rebecca. So Rebecca is like a black-eyed pea, or black-eyed Susan, not black-eyed pea, black-eyed Susan. You want to start those as well. Now, my Rebecca is actually in my refrigerator, so y'all don't let me forget to go out there and get my Rebecca and start it. But in case I do forget, I do have a fail-safe plan, because I'm thinking about, once I get everything done today, we'll see how many trays we get to. I'm thinking about doing a separate seed starting day just for my flowers that are around this mark, because celosia is also another flower at the 7-week mark. So when it comes to flowers, marigolds, cosmos, Rebecca, and celosia, if you do any of those, this is the perfect time to start those seeds. Another vegetable that you can start around this time is Swiss chard. Now, if you've been here, you know I don't like Swiss chard. To me, Swiss chard tastes like the earth, and so I don't like it. I did grow it. I grew it for the first 2 years. I love the rainbow lights. I love how it looks in the garden. It's very pretty with those bright colors and those beautiful stems that are, magenta and yellow and all of that. But y'all, I don't like the way it tastes. I have tried it and I don't like it, so I don't grow it anymore. I think I've given away all of my Swiss chard seeds except maybe 1 pack. And whoever wants it can have it. But if you love Swiss chard, then this is the time to do the Swiss chard, okay? This week right here. So we got tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, Swiss chard, marigolds, cosmos, Rebecca, and celosia. Also, anything that I started last week in week 8, you can start this week. So another thing that I started last week in terms of an herb was sage. And so if you are a sage lover, and you buy sage from the store, grow your own sage. Grow it yourself. It'll be much cheaper, and it's going to taste much better. So those are the things that we're starting around week 7. So let's get to it, and let me tell you the specific varieties that I am starting. And let's start first with our tomatoes. So let's talk varieties of tomatoes. So this week I'm starting half of my tomatoes, and then the next week I'll start the rest of my tomatoes. So this week I'm focusing primarily on my slicing tomatoes and my cherry tomatoes. Next week I will do my paste tomatoes. And so if you're new to gardening or new to tomatoes, there are generally 3 different kinds of tomatoes. Tomatoes, the slicers are what you would call like the beef, a traditional beef steak. It's juicy, it's big, it's what you would put on a sandwich, and the juice is dripping all down the side. That is a slicing tomato. Then you have cherry tomatoes, which you might see like on a salad bar. They're the little small round cherry tomatoes. Sometimes they're called grape tomatoes, or sometimes they have an elongated shape, but that's kind of along the same category. And then you have paste tomatoes, which is a Roma. And so you want to use those when you're making soup and sauces, because they have less seeds, less juice, and it's more meat. So when you're making sauce, it's not as runny, it's not as watery. So putting a Roma on a sandwich for tomato, you can do that and you'll have tomato flavor, but you ain't gonna have the juice running down your cheek. And that's part of the benefit of a sandwich. Like when you eating a burger or a sandwich, you kind of want to bite and you want that juice to pop, and you want to kind of do like this, and you got to dab it right there. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Okay, let's focus. Let's focus. Okay, so that's a general overview of the different kinds of tomatoes. So today we're doing slicers and cherry tomatoes. And so I talked about a few months ago, as I did a recap of last summer, is that this year I want to focus more on slicers and paste and not as many cherry tomatoes, just because with cherry tomatoes, I mean, a couple of plants, we can eat our weight in cherry tomatoes. And so to have 20 of them, it just, it's a seller, but it's not like one of the biggest sellers for us. And so I find that we have a lot of cherry tomatoes. And yes, you can use them in sauce. Yes, you can roast them. You can do all the things and make them into salsa, but they are small. They have a lot of juice. And so I would just prefer to have less of those and more of the other kind. So with that being said, we are going to let's talk about what we're going to do. So, and I'll tell you what's new and what I've done before. So the first one that I'm going to do is a new one. This is called Orange Hat, and this is a micro or dwarf tomato. I'm going to do this for my green stalk. I've never tried it before, and I wanted to do some content for you guys that only have green stalks or only have a small space, and show you some varieties that you can grow this summer in your green stalk. So I'm going to be focusing on this one particularly for the green stalk. It's called Orange Hat. And it's an extra dwarf bush plant. It only grows 6 to 9 inches tall. So this can go in a container. It can go in a green stalk. It can go in a pot. And so if you're looking for a tomato variety, maybe check that out. So we're going to do that. Also, I'm going to do this one. It's a new one to me, Kellogg's Breakfast. I had it last year, but I didn't start it. And so we're going to start it this year and see if we like it. I've heard nothing but great things about it. We're going to do Cherokee Carbon, which we did last year. It was a favorite. It did well. It's a cross between like a Cherokee Purple and maybe a beefsteak, but Cherokee Carbon, we're going to do some of those. We're going to do one called Geronimo, and this is a hybrid greenhouse tomato. This I got last year. I don't remember if I started it or not. I found these seeds, and the germination rate is like 83%, so not great germination. So we'll just sow the rest of the pack is what we'll do. This, by far, is one of my favorite tomatoes, which is Dr. Witchy's. I grow it every single year. It tastes amazing. Talk about what's good on a sandwich. This right here, oh my goodness. It's yellow, it's juicy, it's sweet. It's beautiful to look at. It is a great tomato. So we'll be starting that. Striped German, I don't have a picture of it. I'll maybe pop one up here. Is one that I'm going to do. I did it last year, I think, but my labels got mixed up, so I don't know if I had it or not. So we're going to try that again. This is another favorite, Paul Robeson. This is an heirloom, so it does not grow prolific, at least in my experience. I've grown it for the last 4 years. It's never prolific at all. I just keep growing it, one, because I have seeds, and these seeds are old, so we'll even see if they germinate. They're like 2022, so we'll see if they germinate. Whatever's in the packet, that's what we'll sow. But they have a really great smoky flavor. And so when it comes to flavor, I would say Cherokee Purple, Paul Robeson, and Dr. Witcher are probably my top 3 when it comes to flavor profile. This one right here is Pineapple Tomato. I tried this my first year gardening, and I don't think I had great success, but that probably was more me than the tomato. So somebody was talking about this on a YouTube channel. I was like, you know what? Let me try that again, because they were just raving about it. And so I'm like, well, since they raving, let me try it again. So we're going to try that. Then we're going to do one called Marmongo. It's by Johnny, so there's no picture. But this is a new variety. And y'all, I ain't gonna say I spent my birthright, but I spent some change on this one. And I did it because I just wanted to see. And you know why I did it? I did it for us. I did it for us, because before you spend your money, I wanted to spend my money to see how prolific and how great this tastes. This packet, now you're gonna clutch your pearls, but this was like $20, and it's 15 seeds. And I really think it was like $25, $26. I know some of you are just throwing stuff at the TV, throwing it at the phone, but y'all, it was my money. It didn't come out your pocket. It was my money. But y'all, I'm a gardener. I'm a content creator. I gotta go over the line.
but I did it for us. I'm gonna let you know whether or not you need to spend your $25 on this. So I took the hit for both of us. We're gonna see. It had rave reviews. It's brand new from Johnny's. It said the yield is like out of this world. And y'all, if the yield is out of this world, it's gonna be worth it. I won't miss that $25. Okay. Then Cayman is another one. And again, the most I've spent like on tomatoes, like there's other varieties that I grow from Johnny's that are pricey, like $15 to $18. So me spending an extra $10 was, I mean, $25 is a lot for 15 seeds, but I have spent $15 before. So I just went up $10 more. So what I'm saying was, it's not like I jumped from 3 to 25. I've done the $15 seeds for the past 3 years, and it is 100% worth it because the yield and the production I get far surpasses. Like Paul Robeson, I can spend $3 on that packet, but I don't even get a good 20 tomatoes for the summer. Like, it just does not. And like Cherokee Purple, it produces, but they get disease really, really fast. So the production is just not as good. The production on these babies, y'all have seen where I have tomatoes just hanging off the vine all summer long. Okay. So Cayman is one that I've done. This is my 3rd year doing it. And so it is a beefsteak variety type. Then when we get into cherry tomatoes, the Sakura is a fan favorite. I've done this one every year. This is my fourth or 5th year doing it. The 4th year. It's a fan favorite. It's a cherry tomato, produces outstanding. Sun Gold, love this cherry tomato. It tastes absolutely wonderful. It's like a party in your mouth. If you're looking for a great cherry tomato, it's very disease resistant. It does not crack that as much as other yellow or orange skin tomatoes. So this is a great one. What else? This is a new one I'm trying, Golden Sweet. It's a grape tomato. I saw this on some other YouTubers and they were raving about it, so I decided I would try it. Golden Sweet. And then fan favorite, large red cherry. They grow, this just what it says. It's a large red cherry. It grows really, really well. So let me stop talking and let me get down to the business. Okay, guys, so we got that 3rd tray done. Now we're down to, I think, the final tray. And so what we're going to start next is a couple of things that I talked about in the beginning, and then one that I actually forgot. So we're going to start some marigolds, and let's go through the varieties that we have. I got some new ones that came in last week from Urban Farmer. One is a Sparky mix, and then one is Strawberry Blonde. Don't they just sound good? So we're going to start those, and I got plenty more marigolds. So we're going to start those, and then we're going to also start some marjoram. So if you saw my video last week when I was in Orlando, I toured and visited the largest nursery in Orlando. It's right outside of Orlando in Avita, Florida. It's called Lucas Nursery. They had these that I bought, marjoram. I've never grown marjoram. I've never, have I bought marjoram before? I don't know that I have, but I know it's a staple in Italian season. So I bought this to try it and to use it in my Italian seasoning blend. So let me know if you've ever grown it, and let me just look at it real quick.
because y'all know I don't like stuff that's wild, and I don't like stuff that is invasive. Okay. Okay, so this can be a perennial too in zones 9 and 10. That's not me. Drought tolerant and deer resistant. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to do marjoram. And then also we're going to do cosmos. I mentioned that before. The wind has been blowing. My stuff has gotten wet, so I'm trying to keep it dry. So I'm going to do this one right here. It's called apricota. I just think it's so pretty. I haven't been successful with cosmos. I've only done them one time, and so I'm going to try them again. I like them. I think they're pretty, but they're almost like papery thin. But this is real pretty. It caught my attention, so I'm going to try that one. And then this is one that I forgot last week to mention, and I forgot to mention this week, is chamomile. So chamomile, you start 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. And so I'm going to do this new variety called, I'm assuming you pronounce it Loti Lan. It's from Baker's Creek. Apparently, it is even more strong or pungent than a Roman chamomile. So when you're using it in a medicinal sense for teas and for its medicinal properties, this is supposed to be even stronger. So that's why I'm growing chamomile for tea and for tea blends and things like that. I grew it last year for the first time, and it did well, but I just didn't have enough of it. And so I want to do more this year as well. So that's what we're going to do next on our 4th tray. This will put us at around, oh, y'all, the math, 288. And so only 12 more to have 300 seeds, which that'll be no problem. So we're right at the 300 mark. So let's get to it on the last tray. Okay, guys, we did it. We did it. It was quite a feat today. Starting 300 seeds and having a plan is no small feat. So I'm glad that I did some of the work last night on the back end. And what I did last night was making sure that I knew which varieties I was starting. And I actually wrote down the number of plants I was doing for each variety. So that way I could make out my tags. I knew if I needed 1 tag, 2 tags, 3 tags. And I actually added them up and counted, so that way I knew I was going to need 4 to 5 trays. So we did do 300 plus seeds. I forgot that I had already done some seeds and taken them into the house, but here are the final 3 trays. And so week 7 is in the books. Put down in the comments and let me know how you're doing on your seed starting challenge. Let me know if you have any issues, if you have any questions about anything that I talked about, or if you have any commentary on any varieties that I mentioned. I would love to know below. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting on? Please subscribe to the channel. It helps me, it helps you, and you'll get a chance to see the rest of this journey as we journey through the spring and the summer and get ready to plant our 2026 summer garden. Thank you guys so much for being here. I don't take it for granted that you take time out of your busy schedule to turn me on, put me in your ear while you're driving, while you're cooking, or just sitting down to watch leisurely. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for showing up. So remember, this is all a journey, but let's do it together. I'll see you in the next video, friend. Bye for now.